Individual will bowl their 10 frames.
Welcome out to ABC West Lanes for today's Heartland Bowling Tournament over under 45 doubles. Dylan Bauer alongside Daryl Bauer. Daryl, how about you go ahead and explain to us the bowlers that will be participating in today's stepladder final?
Well, we'll have the number 5 seed going against the number 4 seed. The 5th seed is made up of an under 45 player, Jeff Vogt, and his partner, John Conroy. And they'll be going against the under 45 player of the team of Luke Hitchcock. And Andy Nyer will be the 45 and older player making up that doubles team. The winner of this match will then go against the number 3 seed. And then the winner of that match versus number 2, and then they will go against their top seed, Stephen Hahn and Sean Friendly.
All right, what's going to be the format for the stepladder finals?
Each player will bowl their 10 frames, and the combined scores of each player on the team will add up to the team having the most total pins will go on in advance.
Again, today's tournament, a Heartland Bowling Tournament. The over-under 45 doubles. First matchup, Hitchcock versus Nyer, Vogt, and Conroy, who they will be competing against. As practice is just ending here at ABC West Lanes. And Daryl, how about you go ahead and go and explain a little bit of the oil pattern that's going to be used today as well.
They're using the USBC pattern that was put down this year in the doubles and singles event. It's a pretty flat pattern. It does allow for good scores if the bowlers are pretty accurate. Basically, it's a 3.0 ratio from the inside oil compared to the outside. So it's a good scoring condition, but you have to be pretty accurate and pretty consistent with your ball speed.
First match just about to get started. Hitchcock will be going first on the right side. First ball for him. He'll leave for 3.
Team of Hitchcock and Nyer averaged 219 to take the number 4 seed.
There's Vogt, not able to get the 10 pin to fall for his first shot. Hitchcock looks for the spare. He'll pick it up.
He looked through pretty straight at the spare, which is the proper thing to do, but most of the flat patterns are the house conditions. A lot of times you're a little bit more predictable of how the ball will play if you're going cross lane. But on the more challenging shots, it's better to throw the ball straight.
Nyer looks for his first shot in the final. Gets all 10.
The team of Jeff Vogt and John Conroy, both members are PBA members. Both compete on the regular regional tour, and John, of course, also competes on the PBA 50 regional and national tour.
Conroy on the left side. There's a strike for him. Both teams are even after the first frame.
Jeff Vogt operates a bowling center in Canajoharie, New York. That being Iroquois Lanes. He was the host to a few PBA 50 tournaments over the years. Excellent host, runs a very nice bowling center. And Luke probably made an adjustment from his first shot where he came high. This time moved a little bit more left on the lane, but sent it out just a little wide, leaving the 2-4-5.
Hedgecock goes for the spare. Back-to-back spares for Hedgecock to start.
Again, Luke going straight at the spare.
Conroy looks for the double and knocks out the 9-pin late.
He got a good trip on that one. I think it was a 6-pin came off the wall and knocked out the 9.
Nair looks to answer.
Ooh.
And just not able to get the 5-pin to fall.
Good shot by Andy. They slid the pin over a few inches and spun around. Andy also bowling proprietor. He has Imperial Lanes. He does an excellent job at his center as well. Andy, of course, former PBA member with one national title. Andy has won the 1994 Bud Light Hall of Fame tournament in St. Louis. Well, that could have been devastating for Luke if that 10-pin would have stayed up. Fortunately, it fell out.
Vogt leaves the 5-pin on the left side. Hedgecock converts. Third spare in a row for him. Jeff Vogt converts the 5-pin. Strike spare strike now for Andy Nair.
Andy's starting to feel a little more comfortable throwing that ball extremely well, playing the outside line. Of course, Andy's the only left-hander on the pair.
Gonna be a split for Conroy.
John needs to convert the split to keep their team in the lead by 8 pins.
Vogt got the ball too far outside on that one. Left 2. As Conroy makes a spare, keeps his team in the lead. Vogt stays clean, picking up the spare. Spare strike, spare 8 spare for him. Hedgecock on 3 spares. There's going to be his first strike of the game.
Excellent shot by Luke. First chance for the team of Hedgecock and Nyer to take the lead here if Andy rolls the strike. They got that one in. Andy didn't like that off his hand. I think he got a little bit fast with his feet on that shot.
Conroy picks up the 4-pin. Nyer chops his spare.
You won't see that very often from Andy. Normally he's an excellent spare shooter. Looks like Jeff's moving around on the lane trying to find a spot he can feel comfortable with. Looks like he's in closer to third arrow now. Started out closer to second.
Hedgecock now 2 in a row. Is a strike for Nyer after coming off the open frame last frame. Hedgecock 2 in a row for his team as well.
Yeah, Andy struck every time on the right lane. Just not quite finding it so far on lane 19.
Conroy comes back with the strike. We are back after technical difficulties. We are now in the 7th frame. Vote with a strike. That's 2 in a row for him. Hedgecock going on the right side after opening on a split last frame.
And Vote increased the lead to 29 pins over Hedgecock and Nyer. Luke Hedgecock is from Linden, PA. He has over 4,300 games and over 3,800 series. Has a very strong game.
Connery's able to strike after coming off of a spare.
Chance for Nyer to cut the lead down to 19 pins.
Big frame for Nyer.
Wow. Threw it pretty good. Just came up a little high on that shot, of course. Almost left the 6-7.
Nair picks up the 7-pin. Hedgecock on the left side coming off of a spare last frame. He'll strike, trying to keep his team alive. Vote on the right side with a double. And there's a turkey for Vote. Nair also striking on the left side. He had a spare before that. Conroy, that's a double for him as well. Seven count for Jeff Vote.
And Luke Hedgecock, if he strikes here, can cut the lead down to 33 pins. Well, Luke started coming high on that lane the very first frame. He's been battling it a little bit on the right lane throughout. Vote going at a 2:14 pace. His partner John Conroy going at a 2:17 pace. Team of Hedgecock and Nair. Hedgecock is going at a 173 pace, and Andy Nair's at 197 pace. John held on to that one a little long. I'm glad, I know he's glad he just left a 6-pin on that. Right now, the team of Vote and Conroy just need to stay clean.
Strike for Nair, trying to keep his team alive with Luke Hedgecock.
And he struck on the right lane every shot but one over there, and the last time just came up just a little high on him. Of course, Andy was a PBA member for 17 years, also has 10 regional titles to go along with his one national title. That's pretty much going to do it for the team of Vote and Conroy, as that strike there by Jeff Vote's pretty much going to lock out Hedgecock and Nair.
Vote and Conroy will go on to face John Ferraro and Steve Ferraro in the next match. Vote strikes again on his shot. Hedgecock with the spare. Hedgecock finishes officially with a 173. Vote with his last shot in the 10th. Finished with a 9 count. Will finish his first match with 223.
Looks like Andy made a little bit of adjustment, may have moved just a little further to the left on that left lane. Probably wishes he would have moved out a little bit sooner. Of course, Andy also coaches the Milton High School boys and girls bowling teams, where the boys finished 6th this past year in the state tournament. And his daughter, Alexis, finished 3rd in the women's singles for the state tournament. So quite a bowling family Andy has, with his daughter Alexis following in his footsteps.
It's 4 in a row for Nyer now. We'll have one more shot as Conroy picks up his spare. 5th place today, which will go to Luke Hedgecock, and Andy Nyer goes home with $350. Part of today's total prize fund, $5,042. As Nyer officially ends his day with a 224. Conroy, he finishes with a 211. So Vogt and Conroy move on after defeating Hedgecock and Nyer by 37 pins. They're coming up to face John Ferraro and Steve Ferraro in the next matchup. Today's tournament brought to you by Capital Vending Company. You can visit them at capitalvending.net or call them at 717-558-9921.
Yep, and Capital Vending carries a full line of pin games and video games, jukeboxes, pool tables, touchscreen games, and bulk vending. Of course, proprietor of Capital Vending, Joe Calla. Joe has been a very good friend over the past 20 years and provides an excellent service. Still on. We're still on, right? The team of John Ferraro and Steve Ferraro is just one of 5 teams that we've had today that has been made up of family. We've had 3 father-son combinations, 1 mother-son combination, and John and Steve would be a uncle-nephew combination. Of course, Steve is the brother of Dave Ferraro. Dave is in the PBA Hall of Fame. And John, of course, would be... John is the son of Dave Ferraro. We had one other team, father-son team, just miss the finals. Josh Keller out of Alexandria, Virginia, bowled with his dad, Bob. Bob is from Michigan, one of 7 states represented here in the doubles tournament today. They finished 6th. They were just out by 3 pins in the finals.
Today's tournament, again, part of the Heartland Bowling Tournament. You can go ahead and visit them at heartlandbowling.com. They'll have an upcoming tournament. August 10th will be the next one. That's a scratch singles event. That's to take place at ABC East Lanes $1,500 guaranteed first place. Entry fee $90. You can register online or mail entries and payment to ABC East Lanes. Attention, Jonathan Bauer at 1001 Eisenhower Boulevard, Harrisburg, PA 17111. And then be sure to make those checks payable to ABC East. Tournament must be paid in full when registering.
We had an exciting roll-off for this third seed in our broadcast today. The team of John Ferraro and Steve Ferraro had tied after the 6 games of qualifying with Luke Hitchcock and Andy Nyer, and they went on to be the victor in that roll-off. They averaged 219 as well. Exact same identical total pinfall as Luke Hitchcock and Andy Nyer in the qualifying. Both had a score of 26-29.
Today's tournament also being brought to you by Local Monster. Local Monster is an internet marketing firm based here in the Harrisburg, PA area. They help small and medium-sized businesses located anywhere in the U.S. improve their marketing return on investment. This is done by strengthening their business presence on the internet. Need a business website? Brand new, professionally designed websites are currently 10% off. Want your website ranked #1 on Google? They also do that. Grow your business and improve your marketing ROI starting today. Visit www.localmonster.net or email info@localmonster.net or call 717-638-9028 to see what Local Monster can do for your business.
This will be our third team that will be bowling in our stepladder finals today, and all 3 teams have been represented by family that own and operate a bowling center. But of course, the Ferraros in Kingston, New York just recently sold theirs, but Steve had been in the business his entire life. Getting to relax a little bit now that he just recently had sold his bowling business in Kingston.
So just about ready to start. John Ferraro and Steve Ferraro against Jeff Vogt and John Conroy.
Jeff Vogt's on the Columbia 300 staff. His team this past year broke the single team game record at the USBC Open Championships. This team recorded a 12.99, which was the all-time high until it was broken later this year. And that team had a score of 13.14. So getting some pretty good team scores this year at the USBC Open Championships in the team event.
Jeff Vogt will start it off for Vogt and Conroy. He's going to go up on the left side. He'll start off with a strike, continuing from where he left off last game.
Yeah, Jeff decided to stay with that inside line. That seems to be working for him pretty well. He's the only player we've seen in that deep. You see Steve Ferraro playing closer to the second arrow.
Vogt and Conroy both starting off with the strike. As well as John Ferraro. So all 4 bowlers starting out the first frame with a strike.
See a lot of similarities between John and his father Dave. Of course, I competed against Dave for many years in the PBA regional and national tour events back in the 80s and early 90s. Dave went on to win 10 PBA national tour events and was elected into the PBA Hall of Fame. As Steve puts his team in the driver's seat, taking an early lead with that double.
Vogt will try the answer. And he will. Loser of this match finishes in 4th place. Takes home $442.
John got that one in a little bit. You can see he's motioning that he tugged it, elbow got a little away from his body. Caused him to pull the ball and the ball to go through the nose, leaving the 3-6-10.
And there's Conroy with a strike. So they both start out with a double. Vogt and Conroy, the 5 seed coming in, as John Ferraro picks up his spare.
Steve's trying to get his team back on top. If he strikes here, they'll take the lead by 3 pins. And he does.
So Steve Ferraro starts out the competition here in the stepladder finals with 3 in a row. Vogt looks to do the same. And he will again. So 3 in a row for both of the first bowlers for both of the teams here. John Ferraro leaves the 1 and the 5 pins.
Shot just got away from him on that one. Probably got a little fast with his feet. John Conroy throws another strike.
6 frames for Vogt and Conroy, and 6 strikes to go along with it. As John Ferraro picks up the spare.
A lot of years, Steve Ferraro had to take care of the family business back home, allowed younger brother Dave to go out and compete on the PBA National Tour. Now that Steve has reached the 50 age group and above, Steve's taken a little bit more interest in bowling some national PBA 50 events, and he's won 2 of those PBA 50 events, one in Decatur and then one also in Dayton. So Steve's making a name for himself here the last few years on the PBA 50 tour.
John Ferraro again, 9 count.
John Conroy Knight getting up to the line as well on that shot. Looked like he may have stuck just a little bit, causing him to pull the ball. Got a good break, knocked the 4 out, only leaving the 9. As we saw John make it earlier in the first match, be a very simple spare for John.
Picks it up. Vote and Conroy shot .434 the first game. That beat Luke Hedgecock and Andy Nyer. As Vote will have to shoot a spare for the first time on a split this game.
Jeff leaving a 2-8-10. Can be made, but we'll see how he tries to attack it. If he tries to hit the 2-pin solid into the 8 and hope to get a break with the 8-pin or the 2-pin bouncing off the 8 and going over to get the 10.
Steve Ferraro starts off front 5. Vote goes for the pins.
Pretty smart move by Jeff just to go for 2, get the count, as 1 or 2 pins may come back and be very important near the end of the match. That was a virtually impossible split to make, so by making sure he got at least 2 pins on the spare, he saved a few pins in count.
A count for Conroy. John Ferraro getting back with the strikes as he struck in the 5th frame. Vote on the right side coming off his first open in the stepladder finals. And he'll start his striking streak up again. Conroy converts his spare.
John was the 2009 PBA Eastern Region Rookie of the Year, as well as the 2013 PBA 50 Eastern Region Player of the Year.
Steve Ferraro looks to make it 6 and not able to get all the pins fall, so his streak of 5 in a row will end there. He'll attempt his first spare in the finals. Winner of this match goes on to face Joe Tremper and Brian Cavey.
Steve had a knee injury, sidelined him a little bit at the end of last year. He's come back and he's back bowling regular on the PBA 50 tour. Did really well this year in the PBA Senior Masters, making the cut. John Connery still having a little bit of approach issues on the right lane, but that time was able to hold his line together.
John Ferraro. Strike last frame. Leaves the 4 pin this frame. Not able to get consistent strikes. Through 6 frames now.
Steve trying to maintain their 3-pin lead at this point.
There's a 7 count for Steve Ferraro. So he left the 2-4-5. Jeff Vogt. Not able to get the 4-pin to fall. The open for Steve Ferraro. This is strike for Ferraro. All 3 of his strikes coming on the right side.
John Conroy with a strike here will put his team up by 20 pins. So not the shot he wanted to make. Well, we started off this game with a lot of strikes, and all of a sudden now the strikes have been slim. Easy spare for John. They'll retain a 10-pin lead.
Vote another 9 count.
Jeff Vogt has 22 300 games to his credit, 6 800 series. I've bowled at Jeff's Bowling Center in Kanajahari a few times. Very nice bowling center. Always makes you feel real comfortable, friendly environment.
Steve Ferraro coming off an open.
A little high in the pocket for Steve. He's playing a fairly direct line, trying to keep the ball in play. There's not a lot of margin for error. Hoping his nephew John can get a strike here and bring him even in the match. That's when you have an over and an under tournament. You generally the fellows that are the older players depend more on the younger players to come through in the clutch. I think Steve's just hoping John can find this left lane. Seems to have the right lane down. If he can get this lane, will be a big help to their team. Threw it pretty good. Definitely the best shot John has made on the left lane so far. Would have loved to have that one as a 6-pin wrapped around the 10. John Conroy keeps his game clean, no opens. And John Ferraro makes his spare. Right now it's a 9-pin lead for the team of Jeff Vogt and John Conroy as we head into the 9th frame.
All players working off of a spare, and Ferraro attacks first with a strike. Down with his team, down by 9, trying to put them ahead. That Vogt comes up on the left side. He will strike as well. Jeff Vogt, John Conroy, the 5 seed. Team of Ferraros were the 3 seed as John Ferraro. Again, another strike on the right side. Vogt Conroy defeated Hedgecock Nyer in the first match by 37 pins. Bowling a team score of 434. As Conroy leaves the 9 count.
John Conroy received the 2014 Star of Life National Award for outstanding work as a paramedic over his career. Quite an achievement. He was honored in Washington, D.C. John was a paramedic in 1995 for the World Trade Center bombing and again with the Twin Towers in 2001. Quite an honor John has received. Now, Jeff Vogt makes the spare, and if Steve Ferraro can strike on his first shot, that will take a 1-pin lead.
He will pick that up. So Steve Ferraro.
Throw it pretty good. 10-pin.
In the 10th frame now. Vogt looks for his final shot of the game. Chance to max out at 214. And he will not. He'll finish his game 212.
Steve converts to 10-pin.
So Ferraro able to end at 224 if he strikes here. Leaves 3. So his final score 221 in this match.
The Ferraros still control their own destiny. If John can strike out here, they will win the match, providing he gets a good count on the fill shot.
Conroy with the big strike there.
This is to take the lead for the Ferraros. Threw it really well. Yep, came up late. May have gotten just a little fast on that shot as again, John fighting that left lane. Could not throw a strike on the left lane to double. This time leaving a 2-8. And the team of Jeff Vogt And John Conroy will go on to compete against the number 2 seed, Joe Tremper and Brian Cavey.
Ferraros will be going home with $442 in 4th place. Again, part of the $5,042 in today's total prize fund.
As John looks like he's trying to maybe try to find a line that may work next game, as they will defeat the Ferraros 426 to 418.
Again, Vogt and Conroy, the 5 seeds, going on to face the 2 seed now. Again, today's part of the Heartland Bowling Tournament. We're going to take a quick timeout, but when we come back, it'll be the 5 seed Jeff Vogt and John Conroy facing the 2 seed Joe Tremper and Brian Cavey. We'll have that when we come back in a few minutes.
This is Darryl Bauer with Steve Ferraro. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Just Steve, how did that feel to bowl with your nephew? We had 5 families bowl together. We had 3 father-sons, a daughter or a son mother, and then you bowling with your nephew. How did that feel bowling with John?
It's always fun to bowl with my nephew. I really enjoy bowling with him, and we could have won that game. A few breaks just didn't go our way, but it was really fun, and I really enjoyed the day. You know, it was a fun day.
Yep, if John could have got that left lane, seemed like he struggled a little bit carrying over there on that side. How's it feel to be kind of like semi-retired now? I know a lot of years you were in the bowling business. You had to take care of the business. You allowed younger brother Dave to go out there and bowl and make a name for himself, become a PBA member or PBA Hall of Fame member. And now since you've turned 50 and then just recently sold your business, you're going to spend more time trying to do a little bit more of the bowling events?
I don't know if I'm going to bowl anymore, but it's a weird feeling now being out of bowling business. That's all I've done my whole life. You know, our whole family. We've been in it since the 30s. So it's definitely a transitional period. And I don't think I'm going to bowl anymore, but it feels a little weird. I used to always have to come to work before I bowl the tournament, and now I can just come right to the tournament. So I guess it's a little more relaxing, you know. Nothing has to be done before I leave. So in that respect, it's a little more relaxing.
Right. In our age, we get some injuries along the way. I know you injured your knee last year. It seems like it's coming around a little bit better for you now this
Yeah,
year.
I'm starting to recover from that pretty good. It's almost about 80% now, and I still enjoy the competition. You know what I mean? Even though I'm not able to bowl maybe as well as I was 5 or 6 years ago, but I still enjoy the competition. And these kind of events, when you get to bowl with the younger guys, is really fun for me. Just to see if you can just compete anymore. You know?
Sure. Yeah, excellent tournament. You guys averaged 219 throughout the tournament on a pretty difficult USBC pattern that they put out for the singles and doubles tournament. So nothing to be ashamed of. You guys bowled great, and hope we can get some more titles. 2 PBA 50 titles at Dayton and also Decatur. So that has to feel pretty good, and
Yeah.
hope we get a few more under your belt.
Well, one more would be really a capping, but who knows? You never know. But Johnny carried me all day. Johnny bowled really well today in qualifying, so I guess I couldn't have him, carry me in the finals either. So what are you going to do? But it was a fun day, and I thank you guys for having a tournament. It was really well won, and the condition. I really love coming in a bowl in any condition that's not a house condition for a tournament, and I think that's sort of what made this whole thing more enjoyable. You don't come in and just see huge scores game after game. You know what I mean? And it's much more fun. I think this is the way bowling was meant to be. That if you shoot 220 or 240, you bowled a real good game, as opposed to shooting 240 and not making the finals. So I enjoyed it. Thank you.
As you watched John grow up over the years, you notice any similarities with Dave, with his style, his game?
Nothing at all. It's really something how John developed like the younger player's style more so than Dave's. Even though Dave coached him, he just never. And I'll tell you, it's funny. We had a father and son league bowl for 50 years, and we used to watch all the kids grow up with their fathers bowling, and they all used to emulate their fathers. It was like my brother and I used to stand behind him and watch, and we used to go, "Look, he was just like his father," and most of the kids did, except Johnny didn't. So I guess he's better off.
I know it's a little bit of the plan at the end at the foul line, a little similar to
Right.
Dave, I thought.
A few things, but most of it, like his release is nothing like Dave's.
No.
His release is nothing like that. But it's funny.
Well, Steve, congratulations, and thank you for
Thanks,
sharing this
Darryl.
time. Thanks for bowling with your tournament.
Thank you, Darryl.
That was Steve Ferraro, who you just heard. As we are just about set for the next match between the 2-seed Joe Trumper and Brian Cavey. They are facing the 5-seed Jeff Vogt and John Conroy. Trumper, not a good start for him.
Joe averaged 231 for his 6 games of qualifying. Had a big last game, 278, to ensure that he and partner Brian were going to make the finals.
Vogt and Conroy averaging 430 through the first 2 matches as a team. As Trumper not able to pick up the spare. Loser of this game goes home with $600 as a team in 3rd place.
John Conroy strikes. John's been a PBA member for 5 years, does have one regional title to his credit.
KV's first shot. He will strike.
As you heard, Steve Ferraro mention that he enjoys bowling on a little bit more challenging conditions. Kind of like evens the playing field between the older players who have a lot of consistency and accuracy with the younger players who tend to rev the ball up pretty well with a lot more speed. And on a more of a challenging condition, as we're watching the bowlers bowl, accuracy becomes a key part of that equation as well.
Vote with the 9 count. He's on a strike. Trumper coming off an open. Looking for his first mark in the finals. He will spare. Vote spares as well. Second frame of match number 3 in the Heartland Bowling Tournament over under 45 doubles step ladder finals.
Brian Cavy's from Baltimore. Brian's a member of the Storm staff.
Cavey starts out with a double. John Convoy leaves a split. There will be an open for John Conroy. Both back-to-back spares. Trumper gets his first strike in the third frame.
Joe has elected to play in between second and third arrow. As we watched Andy Nair play on the left side earlier, Andy was out closer to the first arrow from the left.
John Conroy leaves the 10 pin.
Brian didn't quite trust that one. He's afraid to leak it out a little bit too far, or afraid that the ball will not come back.
Conroy with the 9 spare after coming off an open. through 3 frames now. Joe Temper and Brian Cavey versus Jeff Vogt and John Conroy. Vogt and Conroy, the 5 seed, winning their first 2 matches against Steve and John Ferraro and Luke Hedgecock and Andy Nyer.
Joe got that in. Oh, crosses over. Joe increased their lead to 22 pins.
Vogt again, 3rd 9 count in a row.
Might be getting a little bit of oil carry down, so the ball may not be quite finishing as well as what it had earlier for the players. I think Jeff had thrown that one pretty well. I think he liked that shot, but didn't quite react on the back end.
Brian Cavey back-to-back 7 counts for him. As Vogt picks up the spare.
Wow. You don't expect to chop the 6 pin off the 9 pin for a right-hander as you're shooting that spare. I know Brian's got to be really surprised on that one.
Vogt and Conroy haven't struck since the 1st frame, now in the 4th.
Jeff leaves the 3, 6, 7. I'll have to try to convert that by sliding the 3 pin over into the 7. Not an extremely difficult task.
Trumper's now 3 in a row for him.
Joe has 40 plus 300 games and 25 800 series to his credit.
Vogt gets the 2 pins, is a hole open. He has an 84 through 5 frames.
Great idea by Jeff, just did not quite hit it thin enough.
Cavey also coming off an open. He will strike. And there's the first strike for Vogt or Conroy since back in the 1st frame.
John also did well in the senior Masters this past season. He was in the round of 16 before he got eliminated. Mentioned earlier how Steve Ferraro had also made the cut of the top 64 players. Steve ending up had two hard luck losses in his first 2 matches and went out in the round of 64. John was able to win 4 matches and finished in the top 16 back in the event last month.
Trumper leaves the 6-pin. That'll end his streak of 3 in a row.
Conway trying to cut the lead to 20.
One, 2, 10 left for Conroy. So on a strike. Good pickup there by Conroy, keeping his team in it as we're in the 6th frame. Trumper and Cavey with the lead.
Brian makes this. They're still up 30 pins, and he does.
Vote working on a strike. Everyone else working on a spare.
Joe Trumper has a mixed team challenge title to his credit. Gets the 6-pin to trip out. It's a good break for Joe. Again, Jeff comes up light this time, adding the 7-pin to the 2-8-10. They can't afford to fall back any more than what they are right now. Just going to try to figure out a way to try to make this.
Winner of this match goes on the face in the 1 seed, Stephen Hahn and Sean Friendly. As Joe Trumper and Brian Cavey currently have the lead against Vogt and Conroy, who won their first 2 matches. They're battling as the 5 seed.
Now down 44 pins with 3 frames to go. John Conroy is going to try to get a strike here to try to get things going here these last couple frames.
Vogt leaves solid 10-pin in the 8th frame. Trumper coming up, he's on a strike.
Jeff just not quite making the right adjustment as of yet, where his ball's still not driving through the pins strong enough. thin split for Joe as he leaves the 3, 6, 7, 9. Again, not impossible to make, but in this case, he might just want to go for the count.
Vogt just knocking down the 10 pin.
Things can turn around quickly in a doubles match. Doesn't take much to pick up 20, 30 pins.
As Trumper will get 2. Big frame for Conroy.
9 pin. We've seen several 9 pins today. I think that's the third one for John. That one could have cut the lead down to 20 pins.
Would have been a big shot there by Conroy. As KV leaves the 10 pin. Conroy with the spare. And KV also with the spare. Through 8 frames now.
Joe's from Laurel, Maryland. And with a spare or strike here, he'll keep his team in the lead by 30 pins. With just the 9th and 10th frames to go. Again, coming up light. This time he did get the 6 and the 7 to fall out, only leaving the 3, 9.
Trumper was working on an open. Vogt coming in on a spare. And he'll strike. Staying alive.
Jeff finally made that adjustment, moved a little bit further right on the lane, making his break point closer to 10-11 board, where before he was trying to have it at 12-13, just wasn't quite finishing for him. John leaving a solid 7. His previous shot on the other lane was a solid 9. It's like trying to play the lanes just a little high in the pocket.
KV picks up his spare.
We have a 27 pin lead for the team of Tremper and Cavey as we enter into the 10th frame. Temper and Cavey are on spares. Vogt and is on a strike. Conroy also on a spare.
Seven count for Trumper. Vogt pretty much needs to get the first two here to keep his team in it.
Oh,
Gets them all to Falk. It's a big strike there for Vogt. With a strike, Trumper can shoot 190. Vogt strikes out, he can shoot 190.
the difference would then come down to Brian Cavey has a 4-pin lead over John Conroy going into their 10th frame. If Jeff Vogt can get this strike here.
And he does. Coming through late is Jeff Vogt, struggling early on. Now has 3 in a row. 1 shot remaining in the 10th for both players. Trumper strikes, so he'll finish his game with a 190. And Vogt also finishes with a 190. So Brian Cavey with the 4-pin advantage over John Conroy.
Gets a strike.
There's a strike.
John Conroy needs this strike to have any chance. Oh, and
Yes,
again, the 2-pin trips out.
So Conroy and Vogt staying alive. It's going to come down to this shot for Cavey. Cavey strikes here. That'll just about do it. That's strike.
John needs to strike here to force Brian to get 7 pins to win the match. And he does.
That's
7 pins here will give Brian a score of 196 and a team score of 386. The best Conroy and Vogt can do is 385 if he gets 7, and he's got it.
So that'll end the run for Jeff Vogt and John Conroy. They'll go home 3rd place, along with $600 to go with them. But Vogt and Conroy fought till the very end. But Cavey came through in the 10th frame and was able to go on to the championship match. So final scores here, 389 for Trumper and Cavey, 381 for Vogt and Conroy.
John, looks like you were throwing the ball pretty well out there. I know you had a couple solid 9s, one very costly that last game, as well as a solid 7. If you could have carried it a little bit better, you and Jeff would have prevailed that match.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of started struggling on the left lane. I had a hang spot that I thought I had solved, but I just didn't make enough good shots, so I actually moved everything left to change, my break point. And then I had the buried 9 and a 7-pin. So, it was tough, but, me and Jeff had a good day. I'm not going to begrudge anyone. We had, I could have made a couple more shots earlier in that game. It would have kept us in it.
Looked like Jeff experienced the same thing. He had the 2-8-10 combination twice that last game. Affected him a little bit, maybe some carry down going on there for you guys.
Yeah, thanks Steve Ferraro for burning up the lane with that 180 grit. No, I'm kidding. I love Steve. But, yeah, it was the lane's definitely changed. And, I mean, I know the way the pattern breaks down kind of. I tried to stay ahead of it, but I just made some bad shots, which kept me behind the transition, I think.
Can you tell me a little bit about the USBC Senior Masters that you just got done competing in? Finished 13th place at a fantastic finish.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, even though I have the one senior regional title, I think that was my best overall performance for a week of bowling. I struggled a little bit day 1, but I kept myself in it. And then day 2, I thought would be my big day on the double burn. But actually on the burn, the 3rd day, I really executed well and I kept my head in the game. A lot of times when I bowl on national scenarios, my mental game gets away from me and it distracts me enough where I feel like I underperform. But I've been working on that, and I think I had one of my best overall weeks. As far as execution, mental game. Just concentrating on me in the lane, not the tournament or who I'm bowling there with or against. And it was kind of a special week.
Can you tell us a little about the Star of Life National Award that you received in D.C. last year for your being a paramedic?
Sure. Yeah, it was a good month of April. I went to up in Elmira. I got my Senior Player of the Year, PBA Senior Player of the Year award, and then me and my wife got home, repacked, and went down to Washington D.C. And it was an honor to be chosen for a Star of Life award. It's like kind of like a lifetime achievement award as a paramedic. You have to be nominated and voted on by first by your supervisors, then by your peers. So it was a good feeling. Went down to Washington D.C. They did a tremendous job and very classy. And we get to meet some of the congressmen and talk about the issues with EMS. So it was a really special award. Something I really never thought of. I didn't. I had heard of the award in years past, but you just do what you do and you love it, and then sometimes good things happen.
I believe your PBA 50 award came in Delaware. Is that where you had won, or where was your title that you had won?
It was also in Elmira.
Oh, it was Elmira, and that so it was there.
Yeah, Delaware. I think I came in 2nd place to George.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, I there's another match I kind of let my mental game. I threw a gutter on the split in the first frame, and it cost me in the 10th frame. I got shut out. So, you live and learn.
Well, another fantastic tournament and a great finish, and thank you very much for sharing the time.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Darryl. You guys say thank you to Heartland Bowling Tour, ABC West, the Bauer family. Great job. It was an honor to bowl here. It was a great field. It wasn't huge, but the amount of talent here was phenomenal. So great job. I look forward to coming back.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Take care.
Back at ABC West Lanes for today's Heartland Bowling Tournament. Bowler over under 45 doubles. We're getting ready for the championship matchup. Dylan Bauer alongside Daryl Bauer. It's going to be Joe Tremper and Brian Cavey going up against the #1 seed Stephen Hahn and Sean Friendly.
We're about to crown our third set of champions here in the Heartland Bowling Tournament Series. Our first one was won by Anthony Pepe as he defeated Joe Paluzik 213 to 212 in a tournament back in May the 4th. And our last tournament we saw Matt O'Grady put on quite a performance as he averaged 257 to defeat 3 separate opponents in the finals, as he out-averaged those opponents by 81 pins per game. And congratulations, Alicia Current was second place to Matt O'Grady in that event, and we're about ready to come up with a new champion for this tournament. This one being the doubles tournament.
Also coming up August 10th will be the 4th competition in the Heartland Bowling Tournaments. That's August 10th at 10 a.m. $1,500 guaranteed first place. Trumper will get ready to start things off in the championship match. We'll leave a split on the left side. The top 2 teams in qualifying are battling it out for the $2,300 first place prize. Second place is $1,150. Open for Joe Temper to start off the match.
As we saw in last game, Joe opened in the first frame and then rebounded for the next few frames.
Friendly strikes his first shot.
Sean had the highest qualifying score, that being 1425 for the 6 games. Averaged 237. His partner, Stephen Hahn, had the second highest qualifying score.
Cavey starts with a 9 count. Hahn's first ball leaves a solid 10 pin. Cavey makes his spare.
So we have an all south of the Mason-Dixon line finals with Brian Cavey from Baltimore, Maryland, his partner Joe Tremper from Laurel, Maryland, and the team of Sean Friendly from Manassas, Virginia, and Stephen Hahn from Potomac Falls, Virginia.
So Friendly and Hahn with the early lead after the first frame. Tremper strikes for the first time in the championship match.
Sean Friendly's a Mid-Atlantic sales representative for Seismic Bowling. And he's one of their ball testers, of course.
2 in a row start for Friendly.
None of our finalists are PBA members. This is the first time we've done a broadcast where we didn't have any PBA members involved in the final match. As you heard with our little interview with John Conroy, his PBA title came up in Elmira, New York. He also had a second place finish to George Tigner in Delaware. But none of these players are members of the PBA. Joe again was a member of the Mixed Team Challenge champions, and he has 2 TNBA titles to his credit.
Trumper working off of a strike. There's going to be 2 in a row now.
Do you want that at all?
Sean Friendly, an active duty Army Major, stationed at the Pentagon as he gets his 3rd in a row there. Brian Cavey, he strikes for the first time in this game.
So you watch Steve Hahn step up on the approach on the left lane. Steve's got 21 300 games and 13 800 series. He's the owner of bowlformoney.com. And he's a staffer with bowlx.com.
Two in a row now for Hahn. Friendly Hahn holding on to the lead after 3 frames.
First team just out of the money this week was a team of Derek Petty and Terry Wiley, also from Virginia, and they're cheering on their teammates, Stephen Hahn and Sean Friendly.
Trumper 3 in a row for him. Friendly has the first 3. He's on the right side. It's going to be first 4 now for Sean Friendly. Scavey comes up on the left side working on a strike. And there's a strike for Brian Cavey. 2 in a row for him.
Looks like Dylan, the strikes came back. Last game, neither of the 4 players were able to shoot a 200 game. In this game, we got a 4-bagger, double working for Steve Hahn, and a triple for Joe Tremper, and a double also for Brian Cavey. Ooh. So we watched the 4-pin slide over a little bit on that shot.
Friendly on the left side. Has 4 in a row. Not able to get that one to hit the pocket. Gets a 7 count. Tremper up on the right side has 3 in a row.
Kind of a difficult shot for Sean. If he comes up too high in a pocket like he might with a normal strike shot, he's apt to leave the 9-pin. And there's a solid 8-pin by Joe. That's where he stopped last game after he started with an open, had a 3-bagger, came back with a mark, just a spare in the 5th frame. And Sean playing that spare correctly, just hitting the head pin thin.
Tremper with the spare. Cavey working on the right side. He has 2 in a row. Hahn left side. He's on a spare. There's a strike for Hahn.
Brian to get a strike here, trying to get a strike to cut the lead down to 10 pins for Friendly and Hahn.
As he does strike 3 in a row for Brian Cavey. Joe Tremper on a spare. So is Sean Friendly. Through 5 frames in the championship match. Gets the 8-pin to fall.
Almost back-to-back 8-pins for Joe Tremper.
Friendly working on the right side.
Sean has 16 300 games and 2 800 series. Ooh, got that one wide.
1, 2, 7, 10.
And he'll need to make this to maintain their lead in the match.
In the 6th frame. They will. KV on 3 in a row. Not able to make it 4 as it leaves the 4 pin. Stephen Hahn working on a strike. Hahn. 7 count. As KV picks up his spare.
Steve Hahn converts this. They will be up 6 pins going into the 7th frame.
So Friendly Hahn up. Going into the 7th frame. Sean Friendly on the left side. He's on a spare. Joe Trumper, he'll be on the right side. He's working off of a strike.
It's a great shot by Sean. So you got the 6 pin to slap out the 10. Chance for Joe Trumper to put his team in the lead. Be the first time they've been able to take the lead if he strikes here throughout this match. And he does.
So that's 2 in a row for Trumper. Here, championship match of the Heartland Bowling Tournament, over under 45 double. Winner takes home $2,300. Loser goes home 2nd place and $1,150.
And we'd like to thank our sponsor for this tournament, Capital Vending. Capital Vending has the full line of amusements. Also, their pin games, video games. They do a lot with a lot of the different bowling centers in the area, as well as a lot bigger venues. And we'd like to thank Joe Calla for his support of this week's tournament.
So Hahn with a strike. KV will be on the right side. He's on a spare. And he strikes. So all 4 bowlers striking in the 7th frame. We're now heading to the 8th frame. Trumper and KV have the lead if Trumper can keep striking. Eight count.
Needs to make this to retain a 1-pin lead over the high qualifying team of Sean Friendly and Stephen Hahn.
Friendly now coming up right side. He's on a strike. 8th frame championship match. Friendly 7 count.
Sean's been clean up to this point so far. Has made some very difficult spares. Made the 1-3-9 as well as the 1-2-4-10. So another tough spare to convert to 2-4-5. Barely gets it as he holds his breath.
Cavey coming up.
Brian Cavey. Joe Tremper with a 2-pin lead.
Nine count for Cavey, was on a strike. Hahn be on the right side, he's on a strike as well.
Chance for Steve to put his team in the lead.
Double for Hahn. Friendly Hahn through 8 frames now. Cavey looking to finish his 8th with a spare.
Pressure now on Joe Tremper and Brian Cavey as they're down 8 pins, and the other team has Stephen Hahn working on a double.
Two frames left, championship match. Strike for Joe Tremper. Sean Friendly also coming off of the spare last frame. He looks to answer Tremper's strike. Through the nose, leaves only the 10 pin.
Sean got a pretty good break on that one. Could have been a lot worse.
KV looks to help out his team as he strikes. KV and Tremper both striking in the 9th. To look to keep the strikes going in the 10th. Stephen Hahn currently 2 in a row. Will be up after Friendly's spare attempt here. So Friendly makes the spare. He'll have a spare going into 10th frame.
Everybody's been clean. They've either had a spare or a strike since the very start of the match, with the exception of Joe Tremper with the very first frame, where he got an 8 split in 1.
shot for Hahn. Not able to get the 7-pin the fall, so that'll end his streak of strikes. This one's going to come down to the 10th frame.
Team of Friendly and Hahn still holding a 6-pin lead. Team of Tremper and Cavey working on strikes going into the 10th. And the team of Friendly and Hahn are both working on spares as we enter the 10th frame.
Trumper and Cavey have a chance to close them out. Trumper's first shot. It's a strike.
As they take the lead with that strike.
Friendly battles back with the strike. Trumper a chance to end with a 236 high game. Friendly 232.
A chance to go up 14 pins if Joe Trumper can strike here.
That's a good one there from Trumper, as they do take the lead. Friendly strikes as well, keeping intact his 232 high game. So both players, one final ball. Trumper's final shot. Hail strike finishes his game 236. Friendly can strike here. I'll still give Trumper and Cavey a 4-pin advantage going into the final frame.
Cavey and Hahn are in a dead even match, with the exception of Cavey is working on a strike. Hahn is working on a spare going into the 10th.
So 232 final for Friendly, 236 final for Trumper. Cavey controls his own destiny. Big strike in the first frame. Big shot in the first frame for Cavey.
Chance for Steve Hahn to put his team in the lead with a strike here, if he can strike here, and also get the second strike in the 10th.
Hahn with the roll. And gets the 7-pin the fall.
A spare here by Brian Cavey will force Steve Hahn to get the second strike in the 10th to win the match. He's got it. As we
Still-
saw in our previous match, came right down to the second shot in the 10th to determine the winner.
4-pin advantage from the first bowler as Tremper beat Friendly 236, 232. So keep in mind that Tremper and KV have 4 extra pins. On with the roll. Leaves the 10 pin. And with a good count here, Trumper and KV will be the champions of the over-under 45 doubles tournament.
He gets to know.
And there will be a strike for KV, and that'll do it for them. Champions of the Heartland Bowling Tournament over under 45 doubles will be Joe Trumper and Brian KV as they shoot a 454 in the championship match, defeat Sean Friendly and Stephen Hahn as they shot a 450. So the second place team coming in to the stepladder finals is the champion.
Brian Cavey of Baltimore, Maryland, and Joe Trumper of Laurel, Maryland are about to receive their check for $2,300 as well as their award presented by tournament director and founder Jonathan Bauer. And we have a right-hander, left-hander combination doubles team winner as Brian Cavey bowled anchor as he prevailed in the 10th frame for 2 straight matches. Last match he had to strike out in the 10th to prevail, this time just needing a mark, and he came through. Joe Trumper had the 3rd highest qualifying score as Joe averaged 231 during the qualifying. Pardon? All right.
Good.
Brian, first of all, congratulations on your win today. How
Thank
did
you.
it feel bowling with Joe Trumper today? Joe averaged 231 during the qualifying, kind of held you guys up, although you came through in the clutch and the match play portion of it.
Me and Joe have been bowling together for a few years. I mean, we've won a lot of titles together. Just a confident thing. One always seems to carry the other. It just seems to work out for us. Today,
Right.
it was his day to carry us, and I got us when we needed it. It's
Right.
team bowling.
Is any strategy with the left-hand, right-hand thing? I mean,
No.
you can't really play off each other, but
No, it's just we bowl together so much that we just feel like no matter what we're bowling on, we're going to find a way to get there. And it's been like that for years. So it's a great feeling. Throwing Storm equipment. What can I say?
How did it feel to strike out in the 10th on your first match when you beat Voigt and Conroy? Did that take a little bit of pressure off you for the final match?
Yes. He told me I had to strike out. So that's the bottom line. He basically said I have to buy dinner if I don't strike out. So I did.
Okay, and in the last frame you had to come through
And
with
I
a
told
mark.
him I would buy him dinner if he struck out. The mark was huge. I told him, I said, on Monday night, we both lead together on a sports shot league. I will chop every spare. I said, my ball doesn't miss spares on weekends, so when it counts. I
Right.
told him, I said, I'd have made the 3-6-10 in the 10th if I had to.
Yep, you stayed clean in your 2 matches. You stayed clean. Joe started off with an open. Both games put you guys down a little bit, but you guys seemed to build momentum as the
He
match
said he was
going
giving me
up.
handicap. That's what he told me. He said, I'm giving you a handicap.
Well, that's a good doubles partner when
Correct.
one can pick the other one up. Well, congratulations again, and thanks
Thank
for
you
bowling.
so much for the
It's great-
tournaments. They
great
were very
tournament throughout
fun,
the
and
week.
we'll be back to the next one.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
all right, Brian, thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Awesome event, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Hold on. Should have said something. I'm 15-1 against him. Right? He beat me today. I beat him in the last game. I said, well, he's 15-6. I'm 16-6 now.
Again, want to give special thanks to Capital Vending for sponsoring today's event. Visit capitalvending.net or call 717-558-9921 if you're interested in speaking with them. And be sure to catch the next Heartland Bowling Tournament sponsored by Bowler Supply and Storm. That is August 10th, scratch singles event that starts at 10 a.m., $1,500 guaranteed. First place, you can go ahead and register at heartlandbowling.com or mail entries and payment to ABC East Lanes. Attention Jonathan Bauer at 1001 Eisenhower Boulevard, Harrisburg, PA 17111. Make checks payable to ABC East. Tournaments must be paid in full when registering. Just want to give a big thanks to ABC West for putting on today's Heartland Bowling Tournament series. For the tournament director, Jonathan Bauer, and producer and director of operations, Brandon Bauer. Once again, your champion was Joe Trumper and Brian Cavey as they defeated Sean Friendly and Stephen Hahn in the championship match, 454 to 450. For my color man, Daryl Bauer, I'm Dylan Bauer, and wish you all a safe and good rest of your Sunday evening.